Hey everyone, it's July 25th. It's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we got the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. And first of all, this is not investment advice. Second of all, I've been talking about how the market was going to produce these runs. Things look bullish on a short-term time frame. On a longer-term time frame, I'm definitely bearish on Bitcoin. And I'm going to remain that way unless we really break out above this high up here, which is 9,900. And I talked about the 7,800 level, and I still stick by what I've said, that once we got above that 7,800 level, not only were people going to start to get crazy, and you can see it all over Twitter, you can see it YouTube, social media, you can see it in the mainstream media. I've been talking to my subs about this. Anyways, I took my profits last night on my trade, and I definitely, it was a very, 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 very good trade, to say the least. But I think there's still going to be some whips in this area, like I've said before on the prior videos, that once we broke above 7,800, this market was going to start to get very toppy, and now we're going to start to see some violent swings in price. And I definitely think we are due for some violent swings, whether they're that deep or whether it comes a little bit deeper than that and it's like whipping around. But either way, I think this market is getting ready to topple over. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be more of an elongated experience. Like I've been talking about, we can look at the charts. You can see the elongation of this. This is perfectly fine. I've talked about how everything from, ever since we bottomed here on 6,000, these tops, these runs, these manufactured runs have been getting longer and longer, but then they're also getting smaller and smaller. And that's why I thought once we got above 7,800, the market would start to get toppy and would start to become very unstable. Once it became toppy, there's going to be a lot of violent price action, a lot of swings. It's going to beat people to death. That's the point of this, to get them all confused, all on the wrong side, and then just release the Kraken to dump into the market as hard as possible. So let me just show you something real quick so we can just look. So we're looking at like top, let's see, Forbes. Forbes has been blowing it up on Bitcoin. Here's why Bitcoin gained 15%. Yahoo Finance, again, these are the areas where the retail traders are hiding. What the Russian hack reveals about Bitcoin. Oh God, New York Times, there we are, tinfoil hats. Here it is, CNBC talking about the evangelist Tom Lee about Bitcoin. So, again, CNBC has been talking positively about Bitcoin. The Forbes has been really, really pushing Bitcoin articles. I don't see any recent ones that I clicked on. But these are just areas. So bounces above 8,400. Everyone, CNBC is doing their job. They're playing the song of the siren, and they're bringing people in, as many retail traders as they possibly can, just like every other time before. So again, I always say it, it's like fool me once, shame on me, or shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me a third time, it's like, basically you got the equivalent IQ of a jar of mayonnaise. And that is where I think we are at in this market. So one would have to logically assume of every single preceding run that got hyped up like this run is getting hyped up all of a sudden again, that it must mean bad news for the market, right? So we see the reiteration, the same exact price action. The volume is coming in and then it's being siphoned back out and then pushed back in and then being siphoned back out and pushed back in and siphoned back out. It's smaller and smaller and smaller. We're trading on much less volume here. We're trading almost on half. We are at half the volume that we were during this run, right? So this run is like built on like if this run was built on popsicle sticks, this run is built on toothpicks. And people are going to get pissed off. They're like, oh, you know, you're talking about the end of Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to convey a message of caution to anyone trading this market, right? We've seen this time and time again now in this market. This is nothing new. I talked about, if you listen to the underlying message, there's a lot of repetition in my videos, but it's done for a reason. And people that are listening to it are going to understand what I'm talking about as I reiterate these certain areas, right? It's not like I'm like the all-seeing eye of this market and you know, I'm the God that rules over crypto and what I say is the final judgment. I'm just trying to lay it out there as logical as I possibly can for everyone and just give basic zones of resistance. But the basic nature of these videos is extremely powerful if you're listening to what I'm trying to say, you know? So again, I talked about this and I'm just going to stay with my analysis that this area is the topping area. Where the top is, I do not know. I know the volatility is going to pick up. It's going to swing people around, right? The mainstream media is playing the siren call. We're luring as many retail traders as we possibly can into this area. And the bears are going to come in and absolutely slaughter and maul them to death. I mean, it's going to be brutal. The same way that it got brutal here and it got brutal there. And then there's tons of small little iterations of this. Now, if I'm wrong, then what we'll do, instead of becoming extremely unstable, like something you would see here, violent whips up and down, you know, euphoria across the board, everyone's doing the happy dance like we're seeing now, then what we'll do is base out more and we'll build a bigger base up here. Or we'll have a deeper corrective move and then have a giant move like that, right? But also at the same time have an influx of volume that matches previous runs and stays there. So far, any influx in volume is immediately washed right back out of the market, showing you that, and not only that, but a lot of these moves are occurring at the same time previous moves have occurred, like with the same 4-hour window, I should say, showing that there is obviously clear manipulation of this price. So whoever or whomever is doing this is pushing the market, extracting it as they lure the retail traders in, aka bag holders, and they are going to leave them with the bag because they know the game plan. And whoever's doing this, they're showing their strategy every single time if you're willing to look for it. And I reiterate it as many times as I possibly can in these videos. And it's going to piss certain people off, but you're not the person I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to reach the person that's listening to the message. So again, if we break above, if we do one of those two things and base out or provide a deeper corrective move and then jump back up like so, right, where that lies, don't focus on where I drew that, and we do something like that, then I think we're changing in the market. But if we start to whip up and down violently, I think we already got our gigantic signs that says caution, grizzly bears in the area. And if you're not expecting to get mauled to death, there's a high likelihood you're going to get mauled to death. If we eclipse this high, that obviously changes everything, changes the analysis completely. But I highly, highly doubt that's going to happen. Another reason why is the alts. You can see in the altcoins, they have been absolutely wrecked, right? During this run, when Bitcoin was basing out, the alts were screaming that there were grizzly bears in the area, and they just like hightailed it and went the other way, right? They got mauled to death, or some of them came back as survivors, and they're trying to like come back up, but they're not going to get I don't think they're going to get too far. So the fact that the alts are kind of like showing like, hey, warning, warning, danger, Will Robinson, danger, that also further cements the logical assumption of what's happened previously in these markets. So the only thing I can do is try to lay it out as logically as possible for anyone who's capable of thinking. And if you're not going to like the video. You're going to be lost in la la land with Tom Lee and John McAfee and the people on Twitter that probably never invested a dime in their entire life. They're just hyping crap up beyond imagination, right? We're starting to see crazy figures, over 20 grand, and people think that's going to happen in a couple weeks. That's the craziness they're believing. We're watching the mainstream media jump back on the wagon. They're tooting the horn as loud as they can. Forbes put out literally 3 articles in the morning talking about how great Bitcoin was. I think they just pumped out another like 3 or 4 again. So they are hitting it hard as they possibly can, because they want to corral as many retail traders into this move as they possibly can, so you can get dumped into. Somebody has to hold the bag at the end of the day. And if you don't have a strategy, which a lot of people that trade in this market and a lot of people that trade in other markets have no strategy whatsoever, and what do they end up doing? They end up falling prey to what's natural by humans, to think that, oh, because point A is here and B is here, well then point C has to logically be here. It's human nature to draw that line. It's human nature to think that, hey, the trend must be up, right? It's being confirmed in the media. It's being confirmed by my friends. It's being confirmed by social media. So it must be up. And every single time. This happens in all asset classes. It's all about the ebb and flow of bullish and bearish sentiment. And there's a very high probability if everyone is harping the same tune, playing that same siren song, you better watch out. You better watch out, because it's going to get absolutely brutal for people. So again, it's not that I want the demise of the market. Obviously, I trade this. Obviously, my subs trade it. There's a ton of money to be made if you're paying attention and you're mining for clues. And that's what I do a lot of. With my subs, is mine for those clues. I try to give everyone here a bigger picture. If you listen to the details, I pretty much lay out almost the same strategy that I use. But again, that's pretty much it for the analysis now. I don't mean to make the videos long. They're going to be longer because I'm only doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I try to give everyone as much details as I possibly can on this, but I have to put it out there as much as I can. That caution must be exercised here. It must be, because we're getting warnings that there are grizzly bears in the area, and they are just as hungry as they were before. And if they do get unleashed, it's going to be absolutely brutal yet once again in this market. And that could be why we're seeing less and less volume, is because people have been fooled so many times, led to the same trap over and over and over again, that I think they're kind of getting sick of it. And a lot of people are walking away. And, we'll see what happens here. But that's all I can say. I can just reiterate that over and over and over again. Use caution. This is beyond technical analysis at this point. We can use different lines to find different areas, price points, and so forth, which I do at my subs to find entries, stops, and etc. But in a nutshell, like in the bigger scope of things, this is beyond technical analysis. This is mainly human psychology and the repetition of a certain pattern that's being played in this market. And there's no way you're going to capture it with just technical analysis and just lagging indicators. And I think that's why I get a lot of positive comments, and it's not that it like boosts my ego, but they're like, wow, you're so spot on, or like you're the best person I see like on YouTube talking about this. But it's because I've done this for so long that I can recognize certain patterns that are being used. I've been abused by gold left and right, and believe me, the manipulation you see in the gold market can almost put this to shame in some cases, and in some cases it's far behind the Bitcoin manipulation. And it goes far beyond technical analysis. The technical analysis is what every retail trader out there is using. When you start using the relative strength index, MACD, TSI, stochastics, every single person and their mother that just got, into trading is using those indicators. Moving averages, everything. They're all using it. They're all looking to CNBC and every other mainstream media source like Bloomberg and so forth for information on where to go. And do you think it's really going to be that easy? You're fooling yourself at that point. It's going to be absolutely devastatingly brutal what's going to happen if you get stuck in the mindset that these are the only things I have to use. When at the end of the day, all trading is human psychology. It's what's happening between buyers and sellers. This is a buyer and seller market. It's what are the people thinking, where are they thinking it, and what could potentially happen next. And sometimes simple lines can show you that and tell you that. And it's not always laid out easy. I'm not trying to talk about like every time I do a trade, like I execute it perfectly, right? Like I got losses. Don't get me wrong, like everyone does. No one is a 100% winner. They're a liar if they tell you that, right? Top traders in the world can hit maybe 40%, 50% success in their trades and make a ton of money, because when you do that, you have a strategy like 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, so your losses are minimized. That's the idea behind it, is you have a strategy. And anyways, I don't mean to go on a rant. I just try to share my knowledge as much as I can with everyone. The video is, like 16 minutes long. I don't mean to hog up your time, but I thank everybody for their time. I thank everybody for their support. I hope you have a great day, great night, depending on where you are in the world. If you want to learn more about becoming a subscriber, I do have my site, geometriccharts.com. Everything's done through a private Slack channel where I update morning and nightly videos for Bitcoin, various other cryptocurrencies. I update charts morning and night. I also cover the stock market, commodities, and some Forex, because some of those go hand in hand together. But that's all at my site, geometriccharts.com. Other than that, I produce these videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I do go on tangents, and if you do not like it, I would just tell you, do not watch my videos, because I'm going to elaborate on things and it's going to piss some people off. But guess what? You can always do 1.5 speed, 2 speed, or whatever speed you want to do on YouTube to speed it up. But there are people that are watching these videos and are taking the information and they're using it to their benefit, and that's the group of people I'm trying to reach. So I'm not going to make everyone happy, and I don't care to. So I thank everyone who's hung on this long, and I'll produce another video Friday evening, and I hope, again, you have a wonderful day, a wonderful night.